Hey guys, it's Ariel, and today we're going to be tier ranking every romance trope. Now, I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to get addicted to this whole tier ranking thing because I have never been on this website before and I'm already addicted to it. I've looked up 10 different things already, so there may be a lot of videos coming to y'all. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm super excited. So first off, let me screen record my screen real quick. I have to look it up every time how to do it. Alrighty guys, I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get into it. I have a hair. Alright, so these are kind of like the ranking. It says, I will read any book with this trope. This is basically books that if I hear that trope is in the book, I am buying it, reading it. It doesn't matter if I'm broke or not. Makes me giggle, but not my fave. Also, I did not create this tier, so I give all the credit to whoever made this. I'm not sure who made it, but I did not make this. But it says makes me giggle, but not my fave. So it gives me that warm feeling, gives me butterflies in my stomach, but it's definitely not my favorite. Doesn't hit unless done right, so I can already think of a couple tropes off my head that applies to this. Not a fan. You're basically just not a fan of it. Pretty self-explanatory. And fingernails on chalkboard. I know exactly what they're talking about. If this trope is in a book, there's a very high chance that I'm not going to read this book. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first trope is age gap, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in not a fan. It's not going to stop me from reading a book, but it's definitely not my favorite trope ever. And then one of us is famous. I would say doesn't hit unless done right. I feel like this trope has been done so many times, and if it's the typical storyline, it's obviously going to be still a good book, but it's not going to be my favorite. I'm probably never going to think about it ever again. Amnesia. I don't know. I feel like I really like that. I will read any book with this trope. I'm going to put it back to makes me giggle but not my fave, because I wouldn't buy a book just because there's amnesia in it. I don't think I've ever read a book with that trope in it yet, but that's definitely an interesting trope. Right person, not enough time. I'm gonna put in makes me giggle but not my fave. If a book has this trope in it, I think it's pretty interesting. I'm just not going to go on my way to buy a book just because it's this trope. Teacher student, not a fan. I'm not. That's a little illegal. Accidental pregnancy. I like accidental pregnancy. A lot of people don't, but I'm going to put makes me giggle but not my fave. Again, I just think it's interesting. I think it makes the story good. Bad boy, good girl. I'm going to put doesn't hit unless done right, because if he's a straight up just douchebag, I'm not feeling it. I'm good. Which leads us to our next trope, bully. Not a fan at all. Fingernails on a chalkboard. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just not attracted to that. I'd rather have a nice guy. Friends to lovers. I will read any book with this trope. My favorite trope out of everything. My literally relationship is friends to lovers, so that makes sense as to why I feel that way. Enemies to lovers. Makes me giggle but not my fave. It makes me giggle exactly. If they have really good banter between each other, I think it could be really good. You just gotta do it right. But it's definitely higher up than doesn't hit unless done right. Grumpy sunshine. It's okay. I'll probably put in not a fan just because I feel like it's done so much. And I don't know, it's just it's alright. It's not my favorite. Brothers BFF. I think that's really interesting. I'm going to put in makes me giggle but not my fave, because you already know there's going to be like a climax when it comes to that trope. Like there's going to be some type of argument and it just makes it exciting. BFF's brother, again, makes it exciting, so probably makes me giggle but not my fave. Yeah, that's just always an interesting storyline with it when it's somebody's sibling. Good boy, bad girl. See, I actually like this one, but I'm gonna put it in doesn't hit unless done right also, because again, if she's too like rude, then I'm not gonna be a fan. Mafia romance. So I have not read a mafia romance yet, so I actually have no idea how I feel about it, but I feel like I wouldn't be a fan, honestly. Friends with benefits to lovers. I'm gonna put in makes me giggle but not my fave. Again, if this trope was in a book, I would definitely enjoy it, just not my favorite. One bed. Doesn't hit unless done right. This has been done so many times, I feel like it gets kind of boring unless it's a little bit interesting in the way they write it. If it's just like, oh, like, I don't want to sleep on the floor, let's go to the bed. Like, it's just like kind of boring. Arranged marriage. I have not read a book with arranged marriage yet, but I feel like if I did, I would put it in doesn't hit unless done right, just because that can also get really bland. Love at first sight, not a fan. I don't believe in love at first sight. I just personally think you have to get to know somebody in order to fall in love with them, and if it's love at first sight, I think that's just attraction. I don't think that's you actually being in love with them. Slow burn. Doesn't hit unless done right, because if it's a slow burn, and like the first book that's coming to my head is The Spanish Love Deception, because that was like the slowest burn I've ever read, and I wasn't really a fan on how long it took them to get together. Royalty. I'm gonna put, again, doesn't hit unless done right, just because I don't know, I'm not really interested in all that unless it's done like really good. Childhood friends to lovers. Again, I will read any book with this trope, especially childhood friends to lovers. That's my favorite. Love triangle. Makes me giggle but not my fave. I actually really enjoy love triangles. I think it's really interesting. A lot of people don't like them, but I think it's I just think it's entertaining. Friends to enemies to lovers. Makes me giggle but not my fave. Again, I don't really mind it. It's still interesting, just not my favorite. Friends to strangers to lovers. I actually really enjoy this one, so I'm gonna put it at I will read any book with this trope, just because there has to be a reason as to why they're not talking anymore, and I feel like that just brings my excitement for a book like 2 inches up, just because I don't know, because if it's a reason that's not that important, obviously that's going to bring my rating down, but if it's a really good reason as to why they don't talk and it gets like really juicy, there's so much potential. Past trauma. I will read any book with past trauma. Not any book. I'll put it in makes me giggle but not my fave, because I love when they have some trauma. That means they can heal each other. I don't know, I love that whole like they've both been through stuff and they're just kind of helping each other. Forbidden love. Love that trope. I will read any book with that trope. Romeo and Juliet is like my fave, so obviously I'm a big fan. Boy obsessed. I'm gonna put not a fan. It's okay, like I don't know, it's alright, like it's not my fave. Academic rivals to lovers. Again, not a fan. I'm not smart, so I don't really care. Strangers to lovers. I'll say it doesn't hit unless done right, because I feel like, I don't know, I think the best romance books is when they kind of gain a friendship in the middle or something, or they get to know each other before instantly going from strangers all the way to lovers. I feel like that's kind of, one, going too quickly, and two, I feel like the connection isn't as good. Soulmates. I'll say it doesn't hit unless done right, because if it's like they're trying to move on and they just keep going back to each other, I really like that. But if they're, again, it just depends on how they're writing it, because if they're like, oh, this happened because we're soulmates, like, I believe in fate, and if fate brought them together, that's adorable. What if they like put themselves in that position, they're like, it's because we're soulmates, like, no. Second chance, I'll put makes me giggle but not my fave. I do really love, I'm gonna put it in. I will read any book with this trope because I really love second chance. I love when they separate, go with their own lives, and fate again brings them back together. I think that's so sweet. Forced proximity, I'm gonna put makes me giggle but not my fave. I think if it's done right also, that could be a really good trope. I hate everyone in the world but you. Doesn't hit unless done right, because I just don't like jerks. Like, if you're a really like big jerk, like, this is gonna be a very unpopular opinion, but the way Damon treats other people, and obviously he treats, I just like when Damon, I don't know why this went into the Vampire Diaries, but he's like the I hate everybody but you trope. Not my fave, and that's why I was always Team Stefan. Single parent, I like single parent, makes me giggle but not my fave. I grew up with a single parent, so I think that's why I really like it, and I just really like kids and books. Fake dating, I think that's really good. I'm going to put makes me giggle but not my fave. I think that leads to a lot of like secrets being told and just like low-key flirting, and they know they're both flirting but they're not going to say they're flirting, you know. And then fake marriage, same as fake dating to me. Boy bodyguard romance. I have not read a bodyguard romance, but I think I would really like that. I'm going to put it in. I will read any book with this trope. And the last trope I got on here is sports romance. I'm going to put it in doesn't hit unless done right. Every sports romance I have read so far has been really good. It's really just off campus that I've read, but I think if it's done right, it could be really good. If it's too much sports, I'm going to be bored and not pay attention anymore, but if they do it just right and it equals out, I think it could be really good. But that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post. But I'll see you guys later. Bye, loves.